this is April Garrett with Seniors Blue Book, and today on Senior Care Spotlight, we have with us Jeff Kosor, who's the owner of Senior Helpers of Southwest Pittsburgh. How are you doing today, Jeff?
I am doing marvelous. Thank you, April. And how are you?
I'm doing well. Doing
Good.
well. All right, so let's just cut right to it. There's a lot of non-medical in-home care agencies in the greater Pittsburgh area. So can you tell us a little bit about what differentiates your agency from other providers in our space?
First of all, I want to validate what you just said. You are absolutely correct, April. The space is very, very thick. It's very heavy. There's a lot of players in the space. And while they all do a very, very good job, we like to think that we're just a little bit better. We like to differentiate ourselves with the tag phrase, and this is a national tag phrase right now, senior care only better. And really what that means is we look for people that are passionate about seniors, people that are passionate about providing care for seniors, people that really have a soft spot in their heart when it comes to seniors. And to illustrate this, one of the questions I always ask when I'm interviewing, whether it's a caregiver, whether it's office staff, anybody associated with my organization, I always pretty much start the interview after introductions by saying, tell me about your passion for seniors. And that can always be very telling when you can see what their motivations are, why they're involved in the senior space, and what it is that makes seniors very special to them as they are to us. The other thing that's important to us is that we hire and we train only the best when it comes to caregivers and our office staff. We seek to be that top 10%. We want to be the top shelf when it comes to home care providers, senior care providers, in-home care.
Wonderful. So what is on the horizon event-wise for Senior Helpers of Southwest Pittsburgh location? I know you have an open house coming up.
Yes, we do. I'm so glad you asked me that. The really, really big news, the exciting news, is that we're having an open house to mark our grand opening, and that's going to be a week from this Thursday, so I call it next Thursday, September 17th. It's an open house that's going to run from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, late afternoon, early evening. We're going to have some light food, some light beverages, and we're hoping that all of our friends and all of our fans and all of the people that are involved in the senior space would find some time to mark it on their calendar and stop by. We'd love to see you. We'd love to meet everybody. And we're so proud of our new office that we're hoping that everybody can stop by and help us celebrate the fact that we finally got to move in.
Which I'm sure has been delayed.
Yes, as with everybody else, given the current climate, given the current circumstances that we're all faced with. In addition, in the very near future, April, we want to be partnering with our strategic partners, the people that we know in the senior space. We want to do events with them, whether it's some sort of a farmer's market where there's a table that we can display. If there are any type of community outreach programs where we can reach out to members of the family, the primary caregivers that are responsible for caring for the seniors in their family, or actually reaching out to the seniors themselves, whether if they're in a assisted living facility or an independent living facility, or just a senior type of apartment complex, or in a senior community. We're very interested in partnering with those types of organizations and all of the other various types of partners and referral sources that we've met in the senior space. So we're open to all kinds of events.
Wonderful. And I think it's been tough for you during COVID because there hasn't been a lot of live events and it's difficult for you to meet other professionals. So it's a great idea for a lot of the senior healthcare professionals that are watching to stop in and meet you at your open house and connect with you for sure.
You're absolutely right. Yes.
So why don't you tell us some of the hot topics facing seniors and senior advocates today?
Well, if I could, I'm going to borrow what Senator Bob Casey mentioned last week. I was on a Zoom meeting that was sponsored by the Healthcare Leadership Council, and I was actually able to submit a question, and they found time to call on me. So I got to ask Senator Casey a question, and I asked him what his 3 top priorities for seniors were. But he listed 4, and he astutely pointed out, I'm going to give you 4. And I think they are really, really important points when it comes to seniors, what's impacting seniors, and what a lot of the people, if not everybody in the senior space, is thinking about right now. And I really feel that he nailed it on the head. So I'm going to borrow from him, Senator Casey, and say his first point was long-term care and how it's impacted by COVID. And what he's talking about is certain things like how many long-term care residents are becoming sick with COVID, how many are testing positive, how many are showing symptoms, the fact that a lot of them still can't have visitors, they're in isolation. How does that impact them? How does that impact their family? Are any of them actually being pulled out of long-term care to come home because of the risks involved by staying in long-term care and the fact that they can't visit with their family, which is really very, very important to them. Mm-hmm. That was one of the points that Senator Casey made. And I am referring to my notes, by the way. Another point that he made was the funding and the resources and the focus for aging in place. Really one of my favorite buzzwords, hashtags right now is aging in place. I know a lot of organizations are using it, but it's just so key right now to the senior in-home care population and the fact that, mom and dad and grandma and grandpa and aunt and uncle, they want to age in place. They want to stay in their home. So Senator Casey talked about, the resources that are required for the focus on aging in place and moving money around and making these resources available for them. The fact that we have to protect, strengthen, and fortify Medicare, Medicaid, and the ACA. These are the things that are going to drive aging in place and enable seniors to be in their home longer and to afford it and to find help into making that happen. Another point that he made that kind of goes to my background, having been in pharma for many, many years, are the issues of drug pricing and making pharmaceutical therapies affordable for seniors who are on a fixed income. It's very, very amazing what some of the newer therapies that are coming out cost. I mean, there are therapies that cost $1 million and more, and that's just mind-boggling. But in a lot of cases, they're life-saving. So then you get into some very, very ethical questions, philosophical questions, such as, well, what is a life worth? And why do we spend so much money on pharmaceutical therapies during the last 10% of our life? These are debates and conversations you could have for hours on end, but they are still very important issues to consider. And really probably the most important part coming out of all of that is something I've already said, and echoing Senator Casey, drug pricing. How do we make drugs more affordable and provide access for our seniors? That's something very important to think about, because fixed incomes a lot of times don't lend themselves to these very expensive therapies. The fourth point he made was, if we're going to have seniors aging in place, then we need to think about supporting that, not just financially, like what I referred to before about fortifying the programs that provide or supplement the funds for it. But what about the other things that are, not quite so financial in nature? Like, what about food security? How are you going to get meals to mom and dad if they're at home and they can't leave their home because of ambulation or the fact that they've given up driving? What about if you're in another state taking care of mom and dad? And I use mom and dad collectively. I'm sure everybody understands that. But if you're in another state and you're remotely setting up senior in-home care, what about the fact that mom and dad, now that they're home, they don't have a social network? They may not be really astute with social media the way we are, some of us more than others. And, they may be somewhat isolated even though they're at home. So how do we enhance that social isolation, especially if they live on a very rural location, maybe the home that they've loved all of their life for the past 60 years is way out in the country, and they don't get many visitors. So we have to think about the support for these seniors that are aging in place. And I think there's probably a lot of other issues that fold underneath that particular point that I'm not mentioning, but really the main two were like social support and food security, making sure that our shut-ins, so to speak, are getting access to food, and that someone is providing food or at least taking them out and helping them to secure their groceries for the month or the week or what have you. So those were the four main points that Senator Casey made. I was really excited to have the opportunity to actually be the person to ask him that question. So that was my brush with fame for last week. In any event.
Until this, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with us today, Jeff, before we hang up?
No, I think that covered just about everything, April. I wanted to thank you and Janet Dennison for publishing Seniors Blue Book. I've gotten so many comments when I hand the Senior Blue Book to people that they're like, wow, this is an incredible resource. And I say, yeah, it is. It really is. So thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for publishing Seniors Blue Book. And I just want to say that we're very, very pleased to be the new kid on the block in this particular space. We feel it is an incredibly worthwhile space, that our seniors deserve any and all attention that they get, any and all resources. And then we really need to do a better job of raising awareness. So everybody think about your seniors and check in on them when you can.
Exactly. Yeah. Well stated. And I will see you next Thursday at your open house. Do you want to remind everybody when it is again?
Yes, thank you. We're having our open house grand opening next Thursday. That is the 17th of September. And it's from 4 o'clock late afternoon until 8 o'clock in the evening. Stop by. We'll have food. We'll have some beverages. And we hope to get to see you all there. So stop by.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks so much for your time today, Jeff. You take care.
Thank you. Take care. Be well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.